Howdy guys, it's Joe here, and I just woke up to see even more buffs coming out on the Overwatch Ptr. Now, of course, these are tentative buffs. That means that they can go away, or that they can make these buffs stronger. And there does seem to be a lot of changes going around lately, so I'm not sure how often I want to make these videos. I'm not sure if I want to make them exactly when the buffs come out, or if I want to make, a video talking about singular buffs. Tell me what you kind of want in the comments below, as it's kind of hard to know exactly what to talk about, because there's so many buffs, at least in the last 2 days. Anyways though, let's talk about the buffs at hand, and what's really nice about this patch alone is that there are only buffs, which I really like. I dislike when you nerf characters over and over again, and I like rather when you buff characters to the strength of the powerful characters instead of nerfing the characters that are powerful to the strength of the bad characters. I don't know. I feel like most people just like buffs rather than nerfs for the majority of the cast. Anyways, let's go into the actual buffs and nerfs, and let's just start off with the Pharah buff, because I haven't seen way too many people talking about this way too much. And what they did first off was made so that the minimum explosion damage has been increased to 25% of the total rocket's damage instead of 12%. Now this is actually pretty nice, because it means that even if you hit, the very edge of your rocket, now it'll do at least 25% of your rocket's damage instead of 12%. Now this will be really useful, as it'll make your splash damage a lot stronger, about, twice as strong depending on where you hit on the rocket. And that's super useful, because that makes you can spam around corners a little better, and if you just hit people even a little bit, it'll do 25% of your rocket's damage instead of a nice old 12% that it used to do. Overall, it'll just give you a lot more consistent damage, a lot more damage against the enemy teams, and I think it'll make Pharah quite a bit stronger of a character. Now, of course, with this said, I don't think she'll be way too strong, as McCree's still very strong. They buff Soldier 76, and they also buff Widowmaker, which all counter Pharah, but at least it's something that'll help her just a little bit. After that, I want to talk about the Mercy buffs, which are also, kind of nice. And what they did with Mercy was that they made so now her passive kicks on and it starts going after 1 second of not taking damage instead of 3 seconds of not taking damage. Now, this is actually a really cool buff, as it allows you to get in and out of fights a little bit easier, and it makes so that, if someone's chasing you and they hit you and then they miss you for just like 2 or 3 seconds, you're still going to be getting at least a little bit of health back. It'll give you a bit more survivability, and it'll make so that you can run out and into fights a little bit more often, which is very nice as Mercy, as a lot of times you just want to AFK in the back room because you really don't heal way too fast. You have to wait a whole 3 seconds to heal, but now only having to wait 1 second should make you a little bit more fluid and make you be able to get in and out of fights a little bit more often. And now let's talk about the D.va change, and I feel like this D.va change really doesn't mean way too much. It's just something that they kind of forgot about when they initially did, the extra 25% of time that it takes to charge up your ultimate. What they did with D.va, it makes so that now, her call mech, essentially, when you're out of your mech and you try to call your mech, which counts as your ultimate, now that takes 20% less time to get. Now the thing about that is that all ultimates were increased by 15%, so now this will go back down by another 20%, so it'll pretty much be exactly where it was in the first place, which will be nice. It'll just make so you can call your mech, at a decent amount of speed, just as you could before. Not really much of a change. I think it's just something that they kind of forgot about, and it's something that is nice to be added back into the game. Otherwise, that would have taken way too long to call your mech, and that would have kind of, broken D.va as far as getting in your mech goes. Now let's finally talk about Widowmaker, the character that, I feel like a lot of people want buffed. I feel like a lot of people want changed a little bit more than what they're changing. But they did do a few changes, which are kind of nice. The first thing that they did do, of course, was they made so that when you shoot out your Venom Mine and you walk over your Venom Mine while you're next to an enemy, you no longer take damage from the Venom Mine. Now, that's kind of a weird buff, as I don't think I've ever had that. I don't think I've ever shot the Venom Mine really right next to me. Maybe when someone's, jumping on you, you shoot it down at your feet, and then it could accidentally hit you. Other than that, though, I don't really know why they changed this way too much. I guess that's a small buff, but really the main buff that I want to talk about is that her charge rate of her right click has been increased by 20%. Now, this will be kind of nice, as it gives you, just a lot faster charge rate. It makes you can shoot more often. It makes you can quick scope a little bit faster, as well with the other change that we got, I think last patch or a few patches ago. The problem about this is that I feel like still with the tank meta right now, and we don't even always have 3 tanks, even the 2 tanks that have giant shields, it can be really hard for Widowmaker to just play still. And even if you do get a lot of headshots on the tanks, you really don't kill them way too fast. You kind of have to kill the supports. You can't really do way too much damage to a lot of characters. And I feel like while this could change Widowmaker to be a lot more playable, I don't know exactly how playable she will become. Now, really the big problem with Widowmaker is, of course, she's very hard to balance. She's kind of on a scale where if you make her a little bit too strong, she's going to become like the best character in the game, one-shot everyone. While if you don't do that, she's going to be really weak, as she has been for the last few weeks, and no one's going to play her, as she's not really rewarding enough for how hard she is to play. So, I don't know exactly how they can fix this. I just like to point that out and say I'm glad that they're doing changes. I'm glad that they're trying stuff out. I hope that this puts her in the area where she's good but not overpowered. But I guess we're really going to have to see. And of course, Widowmaker also has the problem that, depending on the meta, it really depends on how strong she's going to be. So she's probably going to be a character that has to get nerfed, buffed over and over again depending on the meta. But I guess that really just depends on what really happens and seeing what Blizzard says. And the final thing I want to talk about that's really kind of cool about these changes is that changes came about at 10 o'clock p.m. on a Friday by Blizzard. So that means that these people are working hard on a Friday. They hadn't even pushed out the PTR server yet. I'm sure that they were being close to done. But I'm really liking how much effort that these people are putting into the game. I'm very, very thankful for Blizzard, very, very thankful for Overwatch team for putting in so much effort, trying to make the game as best as it can, and I'd say go support them as much as you can. Of course, they won't always choose the best decisions all the time, but I am very thankful for all their hard work, and I hope that you're thankful for their hard work too, because I feel like it's really making the game very fluid and very dynamic. And I hope that all this hard work is also kind of being put into for, you know, when the new Blizzard LCS type of thing comes out, the new Blizzard eSport. As if they put as much effort into that as they're putting into just updating the game and making the game good. I feel like that'll be something that's very fun to watch, very enjoyable, and I'm excited for both of these to come out in the future. Anyways, tell me what you guys are thinking about these patch updates. As well, leave a like if you did enjoy the video, press subscribe if you want to see any more, and as always, have a wonderful day.